The FBI is stepping up its investigation into allegations of election fraud in Georgia in 2020. President Trump continues to insist the balloting was rigged and that he actually won big in the state of Georgia. It's a dire situation across parts of the South. Hundreds of thousands still without electricity, heat, and water following this week's massive winter storm. Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana, the hardest hit states. The Dow futures are up 21 points. More details, srnnews.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt, and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-936-5496.
Start the new year in a new Chevrolet from Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, where the deals are ready to roll. Right now, get behind the wheel of a Chevy Trailblazer with 3.9% APR for well-qualified buyers, or step up to a Chevy Silverado 1500 and score up to $6,250 in rebates with an eligible trade-in. It's the perfect time to upgrade your drive and start the year strong with the power and reliability of Chevy. Make your New Year's move today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Shop online anytime at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
With WKS Radio News, I'm Connor Schuh. The new bill moving through the Kansas State House could have a large impact on the electronic cigarette industry in the state. During a Senate committee hearing on Tuesday, January 27th, lawmakers held a hearing for Senate Bill 355, a bill that would require manufacturers of e-cigarettes to be licensed by the state. As of right now, only stores in Kansas selling e-cigarettes have to be licensed to sell, but the manufacturers do not. Republican lawmakers believe extending that requirement to manufacturers and distributors will further ensure the safety of the products. Those in opposition to the bill have said it will negatively affect small shops and stores and potentially put them out of business. The Senate committee will vote soon on whether or not to pass Bill 355. For these and other stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Today, skies will be partly cloudy with breezy northwesterly winds at 10 to 20, gusting to 30 miles per hour and highs around 45. Tonight, those northwest winds will lighten at 5 to 10 miles per hour with lows in the lower 20s. And then tomorrow will be mostly cloudy and colder with highs around 35. A northeast wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and tomorrow night's lows will drop into the low teens with the dusting of snow possibly into early Saturday morning. Saturday's temperatures will rebound into the low 40s in the afternoon as the winds turn back to the south at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Skies will be partly cloudy and lows will be in the lower 20s. Sunday and Monday for Groundhog Day, expect dry conditions and a warming trend. Highs will be in the upper 50s and low 60s with plenty of sunshine and lows in the mid to upper 20s. Winds will generally be from a west-northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday and Wednesday, expect a cooling trend. This is meteorologist Chris Schrumick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Connor Schuh.
He's the new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon the crossover back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bolden loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the insurance agency, Pest Away LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Bennett driving down the lane, kicks it into the corner. Meyer, right side three. Good. Nas Meyer has 8.
Into the post, Edmonds. His pass tipped away. Loose ball picked up by Uzan. Uzan into the front court for Houston. Uzan the crossover. Uzan left side of the lane all the way to the hoop. The left hand for 2.
Sturts knocks the ball away from Mazzara. Sturts out and a dunk at the other end on a pass from Cove.
Blackwell still pounding the dribble, 10 to shoot. Blackwell inching forward, high screen, Winter. Blackwell for 3, left side, he hit it! Blackwell strikes again!
Good Thursday morning. It is the Morning Blitz on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 KLOE, as well as, of course, NWKSradio.net and the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope everyone's having a good start to a Thursday. It is like the perfect Thursday morning. I don't know why, but I stepped out, and I'm just like, there's a little bit of a light fog, very, 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 very light. I mean, very light. But that causes just a little light mist, and it's just a nice crisp cool. There's no wind, so you just breathe that all in, and you just feel really good. It's a good morning feeling out there. I don't know why. And the sun's not up. It's kind of overcast. I'm kind of a fan of overcast weather. I kind of enjoy it. I love a good rainy day. It's probably because we just don't see those very much.
Not here. Not at all.
Not here at all. You're exactly right.
And it's not too cold this morning. It's a nice balance.
Yes, it is. Overall, a really good, really nice morning out there. Currently 18 degrees outside. Like I said, with a little bit of a fog / mist in some spots. Today going to be a little cooler than yesterday, upper 40s. It will get windier here this afternoon. The wind's out of the north, which will make it colder feeling. Tomorrow, temperature is going to be in the low 40s. And then Saturday, we're going to be around 40. Sunday in the 50s and warming back up again. So we're kind of in the 40-50 range for the foreseeable future. There is a slight chance of snow on Friday, very slight, even to Friday night, anywhere from 20 to 30%. So I don't expect much from that at this point in time. But like I said, go outside, take a nice deep breath, breathe it in. So anyway, Connor Schuh with a new face this morning. You've got so many. You're a man of many faces. You know that? A man of
That's what
many
I said. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. I switch things up, and you know what? I think I'm getting to the point where I like to keep at least some scruff most of the time, because I'm not loving the clean shave, but it'll be back sooner or later.
A man of many faces, Connor Schuh is yeah, that's just great. So anyway, the clean shaven Connor Schuh this morning. How long had it been since you'd gone to the clean shave? It's been probably close to a month and a half, 2 months.
Probably more, honestly, because I'm trying to think back right now, because I know I had some facial hair on Christmas, at least. And I think I had it might have been the beginning of December, my last legit full shave.
Do the folks appreciate the facial hair? Are they anti-facial hair? They don't care?
I think they're more in support than not. More so, do whatever you want. But my dad he's got a full beard mustache combination, so I think he's with it more than not.
Is it one of those cleaner ones, kind of like mine, or is it more of the bushy style for your old man?
It's trimmed up, but there's a lot of depth to it. It kind of goes out like here. Yeah.
There you go. I like it. Good descriptors. Good descriptors there. Good depth on the beard. I
try my best.
That's well done. You must do a job in descripting of some sort.
Oh,
Must have some sort
no.
of skill there. Anyway, glad you're with us on the Morning Blitz. FB Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you've got thoughts, if you've got questions, if you've got any of that kind of stuff, hit us up today. Would love to hear that. We actually have a question already from Kyle this morning. Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle's on it.
Kyle is on it, and I love when he's got questions for us. I appreciate that. It's great to know what the listeners are thinking, what they're wondering, if they have opinions, if they have thoughts, whatever. It's great to have them on it. Thanks, Kyle, and everyone for listening in. Drop those thoughts, comments, questions throughout the show. We will get some thoughts and comments from our area Browns fan, Connor Schuh, on their
one of two
head football. Yeah, Coach Clow, if you want to chime in here with your thoughts on your new head football coach, Todd Bunkin, we'll get some thoughts on that in segment 3 and some other head coaching and coaching moves in the NFL. We're still not done. We're still waiting on the Raiders, shocker, and the Cardinals to find head coaches at this point in time. But everything's starting to kind of fill out. We'll get some thoughts there.
Before we go on, I just want to say the Raiders are probably the only team that even has a chance to be more dysfunctional than the Browns at this point. So just throwing that out there.
That's true. They're in the same category at this point in time.
Absolutely.
I've got thoughts on the Browns, more on that too, but we'll get to that later on in the program. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, maybe a little bit before it, I'll have Brian Haney on the program, radio voice for the Kansas Jayhawks. I reached out to him yesterday, asked if he'd come on the show. He said, I can't tomorrow. He said, but I can talk right now. And I said, okay, then I guess we'll do it right now. And so we visit with Brian Haney, and we'll talk with him about Kansas basketball, who's in the midst of some great play on their season, but a very, very challenging slate ahead and for the next 5, starting this Saturday with BYU at home. So we will talk with him about all that coming up in segment 2. But first segment, I want to quickly highlight our local sports and regional sports, some JUCO basketball from last night. Did you get called to service behind the mic of PA?
Not last night. That was, honestly, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because that was the only night I really had free this week. So I was kind of hoping I could just relax a little bit.
Up a little bit. Welcome to the busy time of the year, don't you? Isn't it how it feels? You're just,
it's so hectic.
As I've gotten to know you, I feel like I think I've kind of told you, I said, you watch basketball season will pick up and you'll be like, oh my gosh. And
no, it's like that. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but there's definitely a bit of a wear and tear going on, but we're bearing down.
There you go. So anyway, last night, tough night overall for our regional area JUCO basketball teams. A combined 0-4 on the night. Fort Hays Tech Northwest was on the road at Garden City. Of course, we visited with head coach Jordan Klein yesterday here on the program following their first win of the season. See if they could, and they had the bye this weekend, so they didn't have a game. They had a chance to get rested up, and now they begin they continue the second time through the league. And they were on the road at Garden City last night, and a lopsided loss. Fort Hays Tech Northwest women lose 70-44. Here is the thing, though. They were in the game until half. They were only down 5 at halftime to Garden City. And I don't know what happened at the halftime locker room for Garden, but my guess is there was some tail chewing. And that resulted in a 36-15 second half in favor of the Lady Busters. And that was a pull-away 70-44 victory over Fort Hays Tech Northwest. Marta Rodriguez, of course, I mentioned her yesterday, the reigning KJCCC Player of the Week, led Tech with what? 10 points. That was the high score for Tech.
Efficient, though. 4 for 7, 2 for 4 from deep. You'll take that. But I'm looking at that fourth quarter score right now, 20-6 in favor of Garden City. It looks like that's where it really ended. Only 15 points in the second half for Tech. I mean, gotta have a little more than that.
Yeah, that was the tough one there for Tech for sure. So they end up losing that one there. Do the Lady Tech Tigers on the road. So they dropped to 1-18 now on the season. 1-18 on the season.
19.
1-19. I apologize. 1-19 overall, 1-13 in conference play. And they have another very tough game coming up here at home on Saturday against Butler. Butler is good.
Oof.
They're top five. I know they're at least top 10, I think.
They're well up there.
They're really, really good. And they have a young lady by the name of Ashley Singate, who actually went to Rollins County High School up in Atwood prior to transferring down south. But she was there for a few years. I think her freshman year, she was at Rollins County. If not, her sister was. I'm trying to go back in my memory bank here a little bit, but she was up here in Northwest Kansas product and now is one of the best players in the Jayhawk playing for Butler. Is Ashley Singate. Also last night, Fort Hays Tech Northwest men had their 4-game winning streak snapped at Garden. They lose lopsidedly 100-77. I thought 23 turnovers were probably a big story in this one. That was just too much to overcome. Matija Otasevich led Tech with 17 points off the bench, but those 23 turnovers, that just seemed to be a real kick in the pants.
Yeah, oh my God, 23 turnovers. That's going to do it, but good sign for them. Khalil Kelly is back. He got hurt in their game last Wednesday, and so did Josiah Shields. Looks like Shields didn't play, but Kelly, healthy. They need both of those guys back so badly if they're going to make a run this year.
Another thing, if the opposition goes 11 of 32 from 3 and you go 4 of 21, it's going to be hard to overcome that. And by the way, Garden City shot 50% from the floor. So 1 out of every 2 shots was going in for them.
6 players in double figures, too.
That is impressive. You talk about balanced scoring. 6 guys in double figures. That is impressive stuff. But the Tech Tigers dropped to 11-9 overall. 7-8 in conference play with a 100-77 loss there at Garden. So tough one there as once again the 4-game winning streak snapped, and they've got another hard game coming up here at home against Butler. Butler is always a very tough program to beat, but I don't want to say insurmountable at this point in time. Although the last time these two teams met back at the end of November, the score was 132-98. A lot of points. So I'm going to guess I take the under on this game. I would have guessed that we're going to see a much better defensive performance.
Set the line. What's the over-under?
Gosh, what's the line? Let's go with 182.5.
I think that's fair.
182.5. We're going to go with that. I was going to say, I was pulling back this time because if I remember correctly. Oh, yeah. How many 3-pointers did Butler hit in the first meeting against the Tech men? Remember, they scored 132 points.
If they dropped 132, my guess is like 15.
20.
They hit 23s.
The Earl Chevrolet should have seen Connor Schuh's eyes. They got real big.
That's insane. I mean, NBA teams don't hit 20 routinely at all. I mean, I think the record in a game for that in 48 minutes is like 25 or something like that. So for a college team to hit 20 that's crazy.
Let's play ridiculous stats. And here are ridiculous stats from this game. Both teams shot over 44% from the field, with Butler shooting 51%. So even better than last night than what Garden did. They made 20 of 44 3-pointers.
Of course.
And Tech went 40 of 61 from the free throw line.
That's not great.
40 of
61 free throws. How long was that game?
Oh, I don't know. That's one of the knocks I have against JUCO basketball is that you can just get into a free throw shooting contest, and that's all it is. In combination, That game saw a total for both teams of 93 free throws attempted. 93.
That's not the way basketball should be played. That's not what James Naismith had in mind.
No. Yikes. That was rough. Very rough. Some really nuts statistics, but Butler and Fort Hays Tech Northwest in action here on Saturday inside the Max Jones Fieldhouse. It wasn't a much better day for Colby Community College men and women. Women losing by 10 at home to Barton, 63-53. It was a story I thought was the first quarter. Colby Community College got down by 10 in the first quarter and just did not recover. Desi Ulmer led the Lady Trojans with 22 points. They lost for just the third time in their last 8 games. They've had a good start here to 2026 as Coach Spence and the Lady Trojans. And then the men, they got behind by 20 at halftime. They were down 20 at half, and they lose to Barton 84-56. I'm guessing the 56 points. I didn't look this up, but I would stab that the 56 points scored was a season low. For
I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, they might have scored less against Seward in the win. Oh no, that game. They scored way more at the end.
74. I was trying to.
That was a low scoring game early.
I say I'm looking at the schedule right here. 56. Nope. Let's see here. No. Oh, they had 56. You had actually, you know what? You aren't off. They had 56 against Seward County on the road. So you weren't that far off. So yeah, 56 points tied a season low for the Colby Community College men. 10 points apiece? I think it was 10 points apiece from DJ Cason and 12 points from DJ Cason and Alou Diallo. And we talk about 2026 has not been kind. I mean, this season hasn't been kind to the Trojan men. They have lost all but one game here in 2026. They're 5-16 overall, 3-12 in conference play with that loss. So it's been rough go for the Trojan men basketball team. And I don't know exactly why. We were visiting with Coach Stanford, and he said, we got to get past these in. We've been injured so much, and we got to get this stuff in. And it's the funny thing is, I was visiting with a Colby resident, a friend of mine, at the Orange and Black Classic, and we were talking about a little bit of Colby JUCO hoops. And he goes, I'm kind of starting to wonder if, I admit I don't know the rule. I don't know if it's in place yet. I'm sure someone can chime in with this, but there was a rule that was going to get passed, and I don't know if it's been passed yet or it's going to get. But there was going to be a requirement that you had to have at least 25% of your roster had to be Kansas kids.
Interesting.
So it used to be, for those who don't know, like Connor Schuh, it used to be, and I could be wrong in the percentage, but it used to have a majority. Like it was like 85% of your kids in the JUCO.
I don't know if that's quite fair.
But that was every JUCO, I think, had to have a percentage of Kansas kids. And it was really high. It was like over 50%, pretty high over 50%. They changed it here 10, 12 years ago to where they took that rule away. You don't have to have any Kansas kids. Well, now they're starting to kind of backtrack a little bit and say, well, now you need to have at least 25% Kansas kids.
Happy medium.
Yeah, get back in there. So anyway, if you look at the Colby Trojan men roster, Coach Stanford did that. I mean, Rex Katz and the Kramer kid from Dighton. There's a lot of kids that are area athletes and from the Northwest Kansas region, from Kansas, that he's recruited. But this guy I was visiting with, he goes, I'm starting to wonder if maybe that rule didn't start yet or teams are not following it. Because
I think some are, if that's a rule, some are definitely not following it, because you have teams where you look up and down the roster and there's one Kansas kid, maybe two. So
maybe
imagine trying to implement this in Division I NCAA basketball. State rules.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if that would work.
Well, you can't do it there because you've got schools across different states.
The
way that this worked is because the conference is all in one state.
That's fair. That's fair.
The Jayhawk conference is only in Kansas, and it's only Kansas JUCOs. And I think that's why, and it used to be trying to help allow kids to have a chance to play sports at the next level, give them a chance to do that. But then, that changed. I mean, so, now they're trying to, I think, backtrack a little bit to get more Kansas kids involved, which my guess is they probably saw the Jayhawk is a drop in attendance in a lot of spots when the Kansas kids weren't coming.
That makes sense.
But, you're not seeing the local athletes. We just got a bunch of these guys from New York or Chicago or
overseas,
or wherever. Yeah, overseas that's actually become a much bigger thing in the last 5 years. It wasn't thing, 10 years ago.
Well, it's because you have a lot more kids who want to come over and play college ball since there's not really organized college basketball in really anywhere outside of the United States.
Nope, you're right. International basketball has become huge. Watch Illinois. I tell you,
Illinois,
watching Illinois basketball is like watching reincarnation of the 1980 Soviet Union game.
Their starting lineup, I think, it's two American kids and then 3 guys from Europe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, the one of them's from Kansas, Shawnee, Kansas.
Exactly, Keaton Wagler. There you go.
We talked about that earlier in the week about how in the heck did Kansas State or KU let him get out of the state lines is ridiculous. But he's lighting it up there at Illinois. Also, one quick stop here in wrestling last night. Colby Community College women with a dual win over Fort Hays Tech Northwest, 45-5 last night in wrestling. There is some wrestling tonight. You've got Colby Community College men with a tri-duel against Barton and Cloud. So if you want to go catch some wrestling, go do that. There, I'm guessing that's going to be hosted at the event center. I would guess. I could be wrong on that. Colby High School has a duel with McCook. Oakley Boys has a duel with Rollins County, and then Hoxie Boys and Girls a double duel with Ray and St. Francis today. So that's going on here today with wrestling, and then tonight, of course, you've got some makeup basketball, don't you? Colby going to Scott City.
Yes, we do. So another 3-game week. So Colby never sleeps.
That's why I always dread when they have to postpone. Because I'm like, that's just going to bite me in the butt further down the line.
I saw that. I remember because it got postponed day of. It was like maybe 5 hours until tip off, and they're like, "Oh, no game today." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, this is going to be played on like a Wednesday or a Thursday or something." I just know it is, and I know the players are probably feeling a little worse about it because they're probably still dead after the orange and black. Then they have to turn around and play Garden City, and then boom, 2 more games at the end of the week. So it's
this will be. They've had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Tuesday.
I counted it up. I think it's 6 games in 8 days.
Yeah. Goodland had that back at in December where they had 7 games in 10 days. So yeah, it's. The addition, and I'm not, the addition of these extra games is great because you get more opportunities to play games, but also really can put a little wear and tear on the bodies if you're not careful about it. So Colby goes to Scott City tonight. That game postponed from January 16th. Do you have any thoughts on this game at all, or just look forward to seeing?
Scott City has had a little bit of trouble this year, but obviously it's a GWAC game. You can never really overlook. And, I'm excited to check out that court, because I've been hearing it's a nice little facility they got.
And the rumors have it they're going to have a video board up. I think it was going in yesterday it went up. They were going to put a video board in.
I think so.
So you'll have to ask Adam Kadavy about that. He knows everything about Scott.
I'll have to shoot him a text.
So but the video board there, and the Beaver men, I know at least have the girls game. I think should be very competitive. The Beaver men, they have won I think 5 of their last 6. I think they've won 5 of the last 6, and they have they've kind of vaulted up. If you look at the Acacia 3A standings, they've kind of vaulted their way up there.
They certainly have.
They've gone from kind of the bottom, now they have. I think they're like, if the season ended today, they'd be like the 4 seed in the regional. So they have really vaulted up. So Colby at Scott City tonight on 100.3 The Ride with Connor Schuh. So check that out tonight. All right, let's get to break. Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, joins us next to discuss the interesting season that Kansas basketball has been on, to say the very least. We'll get to him next here on the Blitz.
Your business was built right here. So is ours. At FNB Bank, we are not run from some distant city. We are run by neighbors for neighbors. We know what matters to you because it matters to us too. From local decisions to face-to-face service, we are here. Bank local, grow local, stay local. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
This corn growing season, the pressure is on. You've got to work smarter, not harder. So turn to TrivaPro. As the hardest working, longest lasting corn fungicide, TrivaPro works overtime to protect plant health and your potential yield, even in fields with low disease pressure. When you need your inputs to go above and beyond, choose TrivaPro fungicide for disease control you can take to the bank. Ask your retailer for Tribal Pro today. Always read and follow label instructions.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
This is Austin Wright, the Anderson's Trade Group, and your morning market update. It is January 29th. March corn, 431 3/4. May corn, 439 3/4. July corn, 445 3/4. March KC wheat, 545 1/2. May KC wheat, 556. July KC wheat, 568. March soybeans, 1080 1/2. May soybeans, 1093 1/2. July soybeans, 1106 3/4. Dow Jones futures are currently up 8 points at 49,175. S&P 500 futures are currently up 15 points at 7,023. NASDAQ futures are currently up 38 points at 26,195. Gold is currently up $238 at 5,541. Crude is currently up $2.25 at 65.46. For your grain marketing needs or more information on our freedom pricing tools, you can reach a Kansas City office, Jared Law, Tyler Gosch, Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. In Colorado, John Hankey and John Stiles, 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Some corn and soybean fungicides out there talk a big game. But if you're paying premium prices for not so premium results, it's time to get your money's worth with Miravis Neo. With exclusive adaptogen technology, health-boosting benefits that keep crops cleaner and greener, and proven bushel bumps that out-yield the other guys, it's easy to see which fungicide gets you the most bang for your buck. Ask your retailer for Miravis Neo, the premium fungicide that performs. Always read and follow label instructions.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
Real quickly, so I don't forget, before we get to Brian Haney here, wanted to quickly hand out a chance to win from Traditions Restaurant, their Valentine's Day dinner and dance coming up here on Valentine's night, the 14th of February. We're going to have a chance to win here, or we're going to draw our winner here starting in the month of February. But we still have time to get entered in. So text the FA Bank text line at 785-899-2222 with the word of the day.
Jayhawk.
Jayhawk is the word of the day. So if you want to get in on this, Traditions Restaurant, it's once again Valentine's Day dinner with the prime rib dinner and dance from the music of Strings Attached. So make sure you get in the word Jayhawk, and you could be a winner from the Traditions Restaurant here in Goodland. All right, speaking of Jayhawks, yesterday reached out to Brian Henny, said, hey, could you join the show? And he goes, I can't really tomorrow. I could squeeze you in right now. And so I dropped everything and said, okay, we'll get her in. And so talked with Brian Haney, friend of the program and voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, and started out talking to him about, to help asking him to describe the roller coaster season that Kansas has been on to this point in time.
Yeah, never could have forecast something like this, Ross, because obviously when you get all excited about a particular addition to a team, you just assume good health and you assume 35 games and everything's going to go off without a hitch. But, a series of physical challenges have certainly thrown a kink in that plan a little bit. But the good news is I think that his ability to play through the ankle roll at Colorado was not only impressive in showing his toughness within that game to his teammates and his coaches, but also, convincing and proving to himself that he can play through some discomfort and he's going to be okay. Doesn't mean that if the, hamstring tightness or the quad cramping crops back up again, he's not going to still come out in stretches. But I think that was a good step forward just in understanding that, it's okay sometimes to push the envelope a little bit. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way, certainly. But as we get deeper into this season and these games ratchet up several notches in importance, starting with the Saturday game with BYU and then just a brutal gauntlet of a February schedule with 2 games versus number 1 Arizona, a return trip to Ames, Iowa to face Iowa State, Texas Tech and Lubbock. The list goes on and on. I hope that they'll be able to have their full complement of players and have Darren as close to 100% as possible because they've still got a shot to be a factor in this league race. I know it looks like Arizona's well out in front of the field with a 2.5-game lead on the Hawks, but you still got a chance since you play them twice, and you've got a chance as Kansas, even as a 5-loss team right now, to still finish possibly as high as a 2 seed, and I think that's very realistic for Kansas. So we're pumped at what these next 35 days or so could look like. And at the same time, we know that in order to have as much success as we'd like to, we need to be at full strength. So here's hoping that's the case on Saturday.
How interesting was it to watch this basketball team kind of have to play? It felt like at times 2 different styles. You had when Darren Peterson was on the floor style and when he wasn't on the floor style. And it felt like because they couldn't really find out who they were at some point in time season, that caused for some disruption. But now it feels like as if everyone's comfortable with who's ever on the floor. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, it did take some acclimation to get guys like Melvin to stay aggressive even when Darren was out there. And, not every team is blessed to have 2 alpha dog scorers. Usually there's that one guy that's kind of the trendsetter and the catalyst, and everybody else kind of falls in line behind him. But how much more dynamic is Kansas if you can keep counsel on the aggressor in terms of his mindset and mentality. Keep Trey White every bit as hungry and looking to drive the ball and get to the free throw line, but still have Darren out there, a very capable weapon that's continually drawing 2 defenders every time down the floor. Because if the other guys stay hungry and aggressive, even when Darren's out there, and don't fall into the, natural tendency of just kind of watching him do his thing, they're going to get so many open looks by virtue of all of the defensive attention that he commands. And Darren's a really good passer, has excellent floor vision. And it's just going to make, I think, in the second half of the league schedule, a much more difficult to defend Kansas team now that we're seeing them start to figure that out. Now, we haven't seen them on the floor since Colorado, but here's hoping that, it looks like they want it to look come Saturday versus BYU. And as you well know, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, the top 2 players in their respective class, the first 2 picks projected in June's NBA draft. I mean, this game has so much hype with just those 2, but I think the way the rest of this Kansas team has grown and adapted to each other and to Darren too is what makes you pretty bullish on the Hawks' chances in the month of March. Flory Bidunga's become a much better player for Kansas. He's become the fastest Jayhawk to 100 blocks in KU history, and he's becoming a more consistent scorer for Kansas as well. He's improved his free throw shooting numbers by nearly 20% from a year ago. Bryson Tiller and Elmarco Jackson showed some great signs on Saturday in the Little Apple. And so there's a lot to like with how the rest of this Kansas team is rounding into form.
We're visiting with Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. I want to talk one more question on Darren Peterson here. Is he the most talented freshman that you've seen in your tenure there and even in your time before going through the doors there at KU at the Fog?
Yeah, I think he is. I just asked Brendan Bouchard that yesterday, who's our director of scouting. And, Brendan played here, but he's been on staff for 17 years. And I said, man, if you could pick any one freshman, whether it was Wiggins, Embiid, Josh Jackson, who was number 1, Josh Selby, if you go all the way back to the really early Self years. And he said, no, hands down, it's Peterson. And those other guys, even though Wiggins was the number 1 pick in the draft and Embiid's gone on to be an NBA MVP, you didn't have folks saying, man, this is Kobe Bryant we're watching here. And there have been a number of national analysts that have had that comparison or similar ones to it to say about Darren Peterson. And so it's pretty exciting, what this could look like if, again, he can have sustained health and this team continues to gel and click with him out there. But make no mistake, he's a terrific kid. For those that wondered about in the midst of his 9-game absence, how much is he wanting to play and be out there? Or is he thinking about the NBA and all that? Yes, it's always, in the back of his mind, and some days maybe the forefront. But I'll tell you this much, he's a great teammate. Guys in that locker room love him. He wants to be out there. He was going through so many hours of physical therapy on the hamstring tightness and all that, so he could be back. And so if there were any misconceptions on his want to factor, let me clear it up. He's a fine young man, and we're lucky to have him. And he just needs to catch some breaks on staying healthy. And now, as I said, that he's pressed through playing with discomfort with the ankle late in the Colorado game, I hope that at the next sign of a little bit of tightness or discomfort, he's able to manage that and still be out there for the Hawks, because Lord knows it's a different team when he's on the floor, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you mentioned a guy a little bit ago about Flory Badunga and how good he has played. His game has stepped up, even though I feel like he's doing the same things he kind of was as a freshman. There's something else about him this year that makes you feel like he has really taken a big step here in year 2.
Yeah, no doubt. And he needed to. I mean, they invested significantly in him in the offseason when it comes to the revenue share dollars and the NIL and all that, because he had a chance to leave and they had to up the ante to keep him. And I think he's starting to prove worthy of what they invested. And we're seeing a guy that, has always been a great rim runner and lob catcher when it comes to those alley-oop feeds and all that. But he's expanding his repertoire and his ability to score in 15 feet and in territory, where a drop step and a spin move here or an over-the-shoulder jump hook there, he's adding ways to be more than just a catcher dunker type. And then obviously from a rim protection standpoint, he's the best shot blocker since Udoka and one of the better ones we've had, obviously in the Bill Self era. I'm not going to put him ahead of Jeff Withey yet. He's the all-time record holder, but he's the fastest to 100, and that's worth something, and we're certainly lucky to have him as well.
Brian Haney continue to be our guest here on the Morning Blitz. Join us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. You mentioned, we were talking about this team on the show throughout the season about how, in previous years, Kansas basketball, at least in a couple really close previous years, Bill Self has gone out and brought in the portal talent, and at times it just really has never really gelled together. What was the approach for Coach Self going into this previous offseason and then into this season to help build a little bit more camaraderie amongst the team to hopefully have more success on the floor? And I feel like he has found it this year, whatever he has done.
Yeah, I think this group, is comprised of a lot of guys that just understand that while they have their own individual aspirations, that in order to achieve everything that they can achieve personally, the greatest way to do that is to have the ultimate team success. And you got some guys that are naturally we over me type mindsets. And even though somebody like Melvin Council can take a game over, he can also deliver 12 assists on the same game. He's scoring 17 and hitting all the big shots when you need them. And so I think we've got some selfless guys that naturally have fit in really well just based on who they are as individuals. I think the fit that Trey White and Melvin have both become for Kansas are as good of portal fits as we've had in this brief transfer portal era that we're living in now. So often you only have 3 weeks to do a talent evaluation and a character evaluation in the month of April when it's a frenzy to get these players out of the portal, and you don't always get the best fits. And that's not an indictment on any of the previous guys, but sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, they not only got 2 excellent basketball players, but they got 2 tremendous teammates. And I think they've set the tone, along with some of your returning players that are more program guys like Jamari and Elmarco, who are cut from a very similar we over me cloth as well. And so I think it's just, it all starts with the high character, hard work ethic type individuals that Self-recruited, and then just a better fit and chemistry makeup on this team as a whole.
You talked about the schedule coming up here, with BYU Saturday, and then you've got Texas Tech, Arizona, Iowa State all within here the first couple weeks of February. I mean, this is This is a very brutal stretch. But this is the Big 12 Conference. And you've been through it many a times. Is the conference just as good as it always is, or is it a tick above where it usually is when you look at the Big 12 Conference as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's better. I think it's always been great. The last few years, it's been exceptional, and I think it's right now as good as we've ever seen it. When you got Kansas as maybe your sixth best team in the league, the club that used to lap the field and then won 14 straight Big 12 titles, and a club that still is spending about as much money as anybody investing in basketball and still has arguably the best player in the country, certainly the number one pick in the draft, a Hall of Fame coach that I'd put up against anybody. And this is your sixth place team in the eyes of many and most. That just goes to show you how good this league is. And there truly are no nights off. I mean, even the K-State game the other night, they're playing shorthanded down 4 guys, and it's neck and neck with 8 minutes to go before the Jayhawks really put the hammer down. So it just goes to show you how, some leagues can be top heavy. Some leagues can have some strength in the middle. This is a conference that's got a ton of strength at the top, but then teams 6 through 12 are pretty potent too. And even the bottom feeders, if you're not careful, can jump up and grab you on any given night. Just look at what happens, with UCF and West Virginia. And those are clubs that may have been perceived as lower tier teams at the time, but you fast forward a month and they've each rattled off 5 wins in their first 8 and have shown that they can make a move from the back end to the middle pretty quickly. And I know in the case of UCF, they're being projected as an 8 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. So that loss doesn't look nearly as bad now. And that just shows you the depth and breadth that this league has to work with. But when you've got Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, BYU, Texas Tech, and Kansas, all as legitimate Final Four contenders. And I think all 6 are legitimate national title contenders. I can't remember the last time we had 6 teams in that conversation. I can remember some years where there were 2 or 3, but not 6 that at any point would be considered top 10 caliber, and at other points in the year might be top 5 caliber, as we saw in the case of both Houston and Iowa State, in addition to obviously number 1 Arizona.
What will be a respectable or, in your eyes, a really good record after these next 5 games? Like 3-2, 4-1? What do you think is the really good thing you'd be happy with if you were Bill Self?
Well, he addressed the team at the end of practice yesterday, and it wasn't so much about we're going to win X amount of games over the next stretch. It was, hey, guys, do you realize the opportunity you have and how much fun these next couple of weeks could be? And obviously, if you don't win more than you lose, it's not going to be a ton of fun. But if they were to get hot, and because the Arizona game in that stretch happens to be at home and you don't have to make the return trip until the end of next month, certainly there's a path to where you could win 4 of the 5. I think your toughest one, if you don't count number 1 Arizona in Allen Fieldhouse as the toughest, just because of how much we value home court here and Bill Self's 94.5% win percentage here, then it's probably the return trip to Iowa State. But at Texas Tech on Monday looks daunting too. And certainly BYU on Saturday, knowing that they've beaten us each of the last 2 years, is a handful. So, 3-2, if you're asking me what I would take right now, I feel great about 3-2. But what he was hinting at with his guys is, hey man, if we get on a heater these next couple of weeks and we can keep this momentum going, he said, you guys will be in the top 10. You'll be in everybody's top 5 if you really take advantage of this window. So we got a chance to have a lot of fun, prove to America how good we actually are, and then take that momentum, whatever we're able to gather from these 5 games that you've laid out, and be looked upon in a completely different light down the stretch of the season. So I think if I could put 2 words on it, Ross, opportunity knocks. Let's go answer that call.
Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks there. Brian, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Really appreciate it. Have a great call and a great rest of the season. We'll catch up soon.
Hey, looking forward to it, Ross. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you greatly. And let's talk in March.
Once again, Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks there, joining me yesterday to discuss the season thus far for Kansas basketball. Michael, FB Bank text line says 5-0 next 2 weeks. Okay, Michael.
You never know.
It seems like a stretch, but We'll see. Well, let's get to Kyle's question here now. Kyle's got a Kansas question for us. He dropped this question early in the show. FB Bank text line 785-899-2222. If KU and Nebraska played head-to-head, who are you taking? KU beat K-State by 20 at home. Nebraska won by 1 on a neutral site game.
That was before Nebraska really transformed, I felt, though.
I am going to take Nebraska, and I'm not because I'm a homer, but I'm going to take Nebraska. What they did at Michigan, and I got a chance to watch that game yesterday. I watched the Big 10 and 60 of that game. Nebraska probably should have won that game. Missed layups was a huge part of the game. Just went cold in the second half, and part of it was layups. There was a time where they should have been up by 12 midway through the second half. And I think if they're up by that, I don't think Michigan comes back the way Nebraska was playing defense. And I think consider Michigan to be one of the top teams in the country. I do think it would be a close game. If you're picking neutral site, though, I'm going to take Nebraska to win that game. I think their continuity as a team entirely is what pushes them over a lot of teams like Kansas that are kind of thrown together every year, like this year was a little bit to an extent. Not to say not as bad as Kansas State by any means, but I think it's Nebraska's continuity that beats Kansas this year.
I get what you're saying, and I could see Nebraska winning this, but I think in a neutral site, this game's going to overtime, and Kansas is just eking it out for me. I just think they have the slight talent advantage with Darren Peterson and Melvin Council, and like Brian said, they got the alpha dogs. I feel like Nebraska doesn't have a defined guy who's going to go out there and just win you a game by himself if guys are going cold. Maybe that's Price Sanford, but I
Probably
think
the closest thing to it, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great that they don't really have a, I guess, star, you could say,
No,
and everyone contributes. Yeah, but I think the star power of Kansas wins down the stretch.
Honestly, I hope we see it in the NCAA tournament. I think it'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Be a great game. By the way, there were a couple things that stood out to me about Brian. What was the other biggest one that stood out to me about his whole speech? Was talking about Darren Peterson, comparing him to Kobe Bryant.
A lot of people have.
I hadn't heard that until he said that, but now that I watch him, I'm like, it does look like Kobe Bryant.
He kind of moves like him.
He does. And he's got the range from, he can make baskets at all levels. That was an impressive thing that he said there. I was like, I had not thought about that, but he does. He looks like Darren Peterson does kind of play like Kobe Bryant a little bit. What a comparison. Jeez.
Can't compare many people to Kobe's play.
No, you cannot. One more thing on KU basketball. They have signed to play at the CBS Sports Classic. They actually play your Ohio State Buckeyes coming up next this December.
Not looking forward to that. Depends what we do next year, I guess. But
I guess so.
I'm giving that one to Kansas.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get some thoughts on the new head Browns football coach next here on the Morning Blitz.
Saturday night, June 27th, 2026. An incredible evening at the Colby Event Center. NWKS Radio presents Colin Ray in concert.
And between now and then, until I see you again, I'll be loving you.
Colin Ray's biggest country hits.
Love me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Tickets available now at nwksradio.net. nwksradio.net. Get them now.
That's when I knew you were my kind of girl.
Country music legend Colin Ray, Saturday night, June 27th, 2026, at the Colby Event Center, presented by NWKS Radio.
Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, if it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snowblowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
When you go through into a smorgasbord, you find a big variety, something to fit most everyone. Well, that's true when you visit Triple R Insurance of Colby. They offer a wide variety, something to fit most anyone from the many different insurance companies that they work with. You know, they'll find you a perfect policy at the best price. So don't wait until, well, it's too late when you have a loss to find out just how good of a coverage you didn't have. Call Reagan Coulter and his very experienced agents at Triple R Insurance of Colby and Brewster, Kansas.
Kick off the new year in professional grade style with Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a GMC Arcadia with 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers, or choose a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 and get up to $7,000 in rebates with an eligible trade-in, or 0% APR for well-qualified buyers. Big capability, bold style, and New Year savings you don't want to miss. Start the year strong at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Shop online at hurlchev.com.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
I'm real excited. During that interview with Brian Henney, I did some searching and I found ourselves a spin the wheel online where we can put in the names for our giveaway.
Oh boy, okay.
I am super stoked.
That's good. That's
we
good.
can even set the length on how long we want the circle to spin. Oh, it's
Full
going to be
minute.
great. Full minute of spinning.
No.
It's probably 30 seconds. Nonetheless.
Maybe less.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. No, we got to build suspense. That minute might be good. That might be a good minute.
That would be a long minute. I'll tell you that much.
I love it. I can't wait. We're going to use Spin the Wheel. I think we're going to create a new segment called Spin the Wheel and have random topics thrown on the wheel.
We can do that.
Spin the wheel for some fun. I think we're going to do that. That's going to be a fun segment. We'll create that coming up here. That should be great during the summer months. And when we get out of basketball season, have a little more time, we'll do Spin the Wheel and random topics. Anyway, new Browns head football coach announced yesterday. Todd Monken is going to head coach. This is, you are biting your teeth. You are not happy about this at all.
It's, I guess, now that I've had a day to think about it, it could have been worse. One of our other big, we had 3 finalists. It was him, Jim Schwartz, and this guy, Nate Scheelhaase, or Haas.
Scheelhaase, yeah, former
Scheelhaase.
Illinois quarterback. I can't believe it, yeah.
From the Rams. He's their pass game coordinator. Wasn't even the offensive coordinator, not a head coach before, so I understand why they were looking at him, but back to Monken, he was actually with the Browns back in 2019, and he was our offensive coordinator, and Baker Mayfield threw 22 picks that year, and we had a bad offense, and that might have partially been a product of the whole Odell Beckham Jr. saga, because that was the first year he was there, and they really struggled to connect, and on top of that, that was the Freddie Kitchens experiment year, where he just totally burnt the house down as a head coach. It's a miracle we even won 6 games, I'll tell you that much, and Monken has had some success as an OC. He was at Georgia for a couple of years there, and they were really good, obviously, and he was the Ravens OC last year, and that was mixed. So it could be successful. Some people in Ravens camps were saying that he operated like a head coach in meetings. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but I would have wanted Schwartz, and now he's out the door.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing is that Schwartz wanted the job. He wanted the head coaching job.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he had earned the head coaching job with the job he had done with the defense, which is a pretty respectable defense?
I mean, the Browns had one of the top 10 defenses in the league. You could argue one of the best, and just it's incredible how bad they still were, even with how good the defense was. So you have to tip your cap to him to even field a defense that performs that well with an offense that you know is just going to go out there and give you pretty much nothing day after day. And so you have to tip the cap to the job he did. And he was a head coach before for like 5 years with the Lions. And granted, there was a lot of struggle in there. I think he only made the playoffs once, but the Lions, very much maligned franchise, especially in that time. Those were the early Matt Stafford days. So, and he took the team over right after they were 0-16. So you can't really put a lot of that on him, I don't think. And again, I just thought he would have been a better candidate than Monken, but I hope I'm proven wrong.
I just think it stinks. You got a really good defensive coordinator who's done a good job there and wants to be there at, like you said, one of the 2 probably most maligned franchises in the NFL.
Yeah.
and you say, no, thanks, we're going to go with this guy.
It's ridiculous.
I don't like it either. I think it's silly. That to me, the monk can hire, whatever. To me, the story was Jim Schwartz saying, yeah, we don't want you. And okay, fine. Then I don't want to be here. See you.
Yeah, because he's still under contract technically. So he is, as of right now, the defensive coordinator. But obviously, like you're saying, the overwhelming thought is that he's out of here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tough one there, but we'll see. We'll get more in discussion. The head coach of the NFL. There's been some other interesting hires around the NFL. We'll get to that when, once again, all the dust settles. Let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Have you seen some of these statistical losses for, first of all, Rutgers University reported that their athletic department lost, I think it was $500 million since they've joined the Big Ten. Aren't you in the Big Ten conference? You get this massive check every year. I mean, they are just losing money like it's nobody's business.
There must be no one coming to those football games because I think despite how bad their basketball team is, I think they actually get good crowds.
They pack the rack.
There. They pack the rack, yes. But the football team is, funnily enough, better. But I don't think they get any love, and I think that's where a lot of their money is going to burn.
Expenditures in New York City is high, my guess is, and that probably costs a lot more money than other spots around the country. But yeah. That's in the hole, $500 million. By the way, also, Peacock has posted a fourth quarter loss of $552 million, despite having a recorded 44 million paying subscribers.
Good.
I mean, $552 million you've lost. They just recently announced they have a higher loss in the part of the launch of the NBA and the NFL exclusive game. So the NBA is losing them money. There's a shocker.
Yeah, well, it's because a lot of people don't want to go and get another platform to go watch games when they can just pass that off and then watch the next game because there's 82 games in an NBA season. There's only sickos like myself that are going to go and watch those games on Peacock. Like I'm not for all the extra streaming crap that's going on these days, but
I don't think anybody really is. Nobody likes the fact that you got to give that extra money every time. And I watched
Peacock.
The Nebraska-Michigan game was on Peacock, a top 5 matchup. The broadcast quality was garbage. Nick Stauskas was doing the color, and he was terrible.
That's kind of cool, though.
Terrible. It was horrible. See you tomorrow here on the Blitz. Have a good one.